And if you want 20 minutes of focus, put the phone in another room. Have you noticed this? You sit down to do one important thing. Maybe reply to one email, finish one report, read one article, and within minutes your hand is already reaching for your phone. Not because someone called, not because something urgent has happened, just automatically. Almost like your hand moved before your mind even agreed. And the strange part is sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it. You check one thing, then another, and suddenly you're somewhere else completely. And what was supposed to take 10 minutes somehow stretches into 40. I think many of us are living like this now, quietly, every day. And because it happens in small pieces, we don't always notice how much it is changing the way we think. I notice this in myself too. Sometimes I ask ChatGPT something, and it takes maybe a few seconds to respond. And just that few seconds, and while waiting, my hand is already reaching out for my phone. And that small gap suddenly feels uncomfortable. And even waiting for the lift, even standing in line for coffee, even sitting in a car before driving, the moment nothing is happening, the hand reaches almost immediately for the phone, almost by reflex. And there is another version of this at home. You tell yourself, let me just check Instagram for just a while. Just a while. And that sounds harmless. And then one reel becomes another. And then another. And something funny appears. Then something surprising. And then something completely random. And before you know it, one full hour is gone. And afterwards you ask yourself, what exactly did I even do for that one whole hour? Because honestly, you don't even remember most of it. And that is when you realize that attention usually does not disappear at all at once. It leaks. That attention leaks quietly, minute by minute. And I think this is where many people misunderstand the problem. They think I need stronger discipline. But often the real problem is not discipline. It is design. Because if distraction is always next to you, your brain keeps negotiating with it, even silently. So if your phone is on the table, part of your mind stays connected with it, like, right, root with it. Even if the screen is dark, even when there's no message coming in, that small part of your brain stays on standby, like background noise. And background noise drains attention. So one very simple solution is this. Do not fight distraction. Move it physically. And if you want 20 minutes of focus, put the phone in another room. Not face down, not beside the keyboard. In another room completely. Because distance changes behavior. So if the phone is beside you, your brain keeps whispering. You can check it anytime. If it's far away, that whisper becomes weaker. So sometimes the solution is not becoming stronger. It is about making distractions slightly harder. And that small friction matters more than people think. Another thing I had to learn is not to begin work vaguely, because vague beginnings invite distraction. If you sit down and say, let me do some work right now, your brain doesn't know where to start. And when the brain feels uncertain, it looks for easier stimulation. And that is why one tap becomes 5 taps. So now I do something simple. Before I stop today, I decide tomorrow's first exact task. Very small, very clear. Not about tomorrow I'll work on the presentation. It's too wide. Instead, say something like this. Tomorrow morning I'll fix slide 3. Or tomorrow I'll write the first paragraph only. And That matters because the hardest part is not doing, it is entering. And once you enter clearly, the brain settles much faster. And here is another mistake people make. They expect immediate long focus, 1 full hour, 2 full hours, but attention today often needs retraining, like fitness. So if someone has not exercised for years, you do not ask them to run 10 kilometers. You start small, minutes, 15 minutes, even 7 minutes counts, because what you are rebuilding is your mental stamina, not perfection. And when those 10 minutes finish, do not immediately reward yourself with noise. That is very important because many people focus on 10 minutes and instantly jump back into scrolling, which means the brain never fully recovers. A better reset is very simple. Stand up, walk, look outside, drink water slowly, sit quietly for 2 minutes, let the mind breathe, because recovery is part of focus too. I think we underestimate how much constant input is affecting clarity. Years ago, boredom was normal. You waited quietly. You looked outside the window. You sat with your own thoughts. And today, every empty second gets filled. And because of that, the mind rarely settles. A mind that never settles cannot think deeply. It is like muddy water. If constantly shaken, it stays cloudy. But if left still, slowly things become clearer. And sometimes we are not confused, we are overstimulated. And that's very different. And the solution is not always more information. Sometimes the solution is less input. And this matters even more now because of AI. AI can already help us to write faster, summarize faster, search faster, which means speed is no longer the rare skill, depth is. And the person who still knows how to stay with a difficult thought has an advantage now. Because shallow work is becoming easy, deep thinking is becoming rare, and rare things become valuable. And that is true in work, in leadership, in business, even in ordinary conversations, because real understanding takes time, and time needs attention, even in relationships, and this is becoming visible. Someone talks to you, but halfway through, you glance at your phone or your watch or something else. And maybe you still hear their words, but they feel the split because the attention is felt. People know when they truly have it, and they know when they do not. And sometimes the attention is the clearest form of respect, maybe even care. Because being fully present is becoming rare. So maybe the real question now is not, how do I do more? Maybe the better question is, what deserves my full attention today? Because whatever repeatedly receives your attention slowly becomes your life, your habits, your work, your thinking, your peace. And if you do not choose where attention goes, something else will choose for you. And usually something louder, something easier, something designed to keep you there. So maybe start from very simply tomorrow. Just one task, one clear beginning. Put your phone away, 10 minutes only, and see whether your mind can stay. Because focus does return. But like any strength, it returns when trained quietly, not demanded aggressively. And in a world where everything pulls at your mind, being able to stay fully present becomes one of the strongest advantages you can still build. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, and share with me one point that you absolutely will work on today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.